Okay. Got more things to say about the Greek, and this is really dramatic. In the upper window, right here, you're seeing what we've just talked about, ego eime. There are in Greek two clauses, really. This is Abraham. This is the before prin Abraham geneste. Before Abraham came, that's first clause. And the second clause is ego eime. I keep doing that wrong. Okay, in normal Greek order, word order, because it's all going to be about word order in this little segment, this should be coming before this. Okay? He's playing the same game as he played back in John 8:42 with Exodus 3:14. In John 8:42, he reverses the order of Exodus 3:14, as you'll remember from episode 3a through 3c. This is the normal order. Okay? He sent me. And that's with the perfect tense, as you can see in the very bottom corner of the window. All right? But in John 8:42, he reverses it to me apostelen. And as you might recall, and a couple of you even laughed at me, I said he's reversing the me because he's the one who sent Moses. And now we're going to see that. Okay? By putting himself here, we talked about how this was prolepsis in episode 3a or 3b. We talked about how this was prolepsis, that it was functioning like a heroic accusative. In episode 3c, when I talked about ekainos, which means God, which is the demonstrative pronoun pointing back to God. Okay, far demonstrative. That Christ is putting himself between Father, pointed at by ekainos, and apostelen, which by putting himself between Father and the verb, he's either very intimate with Father, as he claims, or he's very crazy and very rude and very blasphemous and should be stoned. Now hopefully you can see that he started this kind of dialogue back in this very same commenting back in 8:12 when he said, again, ego eime. All right? And when he says, ego eime tophos, I am the light of the world, that is the proper word order. You first have the subject, the verb, and the object. Okay? So he's using proper word order there. All right? It's also proper to Exodus 3:14 because ego eime precedes the object, which is ho'on. It's a predicate object, predicate nominative. Well, it's not really a nominative, but it's acting like one. Okay, but it's the predicate. This is really important. Subject, predicate. Okay, so that's the order that it normally goes into. Okay, again, verb, object, that's the normal. Here he reverses it to put himself in the middle between God and the verb. He's doing the same thing up here in John 8:58. Okay, this is what should be the second clause is first, and what should be the first clause is second. So he's placing himself at the end of Exodus 3:14. See, here's the whole phrase. Okay, ho'on, meaning God, sent me. That was what Moses was supposed to say to Israel. Ho'on, the being. See, ho'on right here. That's the second ehya. See, we got this is the second ehya, which is translated by ho'on. So it's like a last name. And Moses was supposed to say, ho'on, the second ehya, sent me. And ho'on is the subject of sent. You got that? So he makes himself in front of the verb here in 842, anticipating what he's going to say in 858 by reversing the order, putting himself second, because there's just really no way else to talk about it. Abraham existed before Christ's humanity existed. You got that. So he's putting himself second because Abraham's humanity existed after his own. But he pre-existed Abraham. And so by putting himself second here and saying, I am, he's stressing, again, his own existence, his own pre-existence. Because in Greek, as in many other languages, Russian being another one, when you want to stress something, you put it last. And that's also true sometimes in English. Okay? You put it last because that's what the person's going to remember the most. They sort of teach you to do that when they try to teach you how to make a sales pitch. They tell you to repeat, 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 and then always mention last what you want your people to remember most. All right? Ego ime. Ego eimi. One day I'm going to say this in proper LXX Greek. I, me. That's the last word. Now, you remember about first and last. Okay? End from the beginning. Alpha and Omega. Okay? So he's the last word. The word is the last word. You see all this kind of wordplay that's being going on? Alright? He's taking it out of order in order to stress it. He's taking it out of order to identify with what he had said here about send me, where he also reversed the order by putting the me in front of apostellin. Alright? Because what's in front of apostellin here, darlings? Ho'on. You got that? You see the play? It's like tic-tac-toe. Okay, ho'on is in front of apostellin here. You got that? See? It's in front. Subject, verb. So he puts may in front of it here. Subject, verb. And this is the first time he's using the verb in the chapter. Before, when in English it says sent, that's a different Greek verb. That's Greek verb pempo. Pempo in Greek means to send on an errand. But apostello means to send with an authority. In other words, when he sent Moses, he, Christ, did the sending, When he sent Moses, Moses had authority over the Jews. He's sending him with an authority, with a rulership job, And the one doing the sending is Christ, because, see, he's playing on the fact that it's him in front of the verb. Yeah. Because he was there before Abraham. You got that? So that's why putting the may in front of send is so important in John 8:42, and why they should have wanted to stone him if he was a liar. Okay? But he's not a liar. Because, see, ho'on. Ho'on. Okay? And ho'on is who? Ego ime. Ego ime. Are you getting it? All this by changing the word order, and you can't see that in the English. Alright? So that's why I said in episode 3B, I think it was 3B, that he's, preview of coming attractions, he's saying he's the one who sent Moses. Okay? He's the one who sent Moses. And he's talking about Moses from the get-go, which we know, because in 8:12 he's talking about the thing Moses was most famous for, light. Whenever Moses talked to God, his face was too bright and they had to put a veil over it until the glory went away.